Hello, for those that don't know me, my name is Yaren Garcia, and today I'm going to be presenting on Chapter 3 of the Organizational Behavior book. So I'm going to be just mentioning a little bit of the highlights first before getting into my actual article. Basically this chapter talks about individual differences, which it's in the title, and they can be either physical, psychological, and emotional. This individual differences is what characterizes each specific person, just like you and me, and it's what makes us each unique. The chapter talks about how as a starting point for understanding the behavior of people in organizations, we first need to explore the basic nature of the relationship between the individual and the organization that they work for. So as social workers and future managers, like Ms. Olivera had mentioned, it is important that we can both understand the framework and assess those traits that make our employees or our clients unique in who they are, because from there we are in a good position to understand how and why people behave as they do. And then managers, of course, should make an effort to understand basic personality attributes and how they can affect people's behavior and fit in organizational situations, not to mention their perceptions of and attitudes towards the organization, because of course that's also plays a big role and has a big impact on the success of the organization. So, like I said, this chapter basically explores the reason of why are some very talented people undesirable co-workers or employees, despite they being very talented or very good at what they do. And the answer relies in the many ways in which people need to fit with an employment opportunity to be successful match. And being good at our job is important, of course, but it's not enough. We need to fit with our organization and work group as well. So with that being said, the article that I chose is called Differences in Achieving Person-Organization Fit Among Diverse Groups of Managers. And I chose it mainly because there's a section in the chapter, if you haven't read it, it talks about the different concepts of fit. So either person organization fit, person job fit, person group fit, and my article talks specifically about the person organization fits. And then the study talks about the comparison, or they do a comparison of the perceptions about organizational fits within diverse groups of managers. And it also mentions how most person organization fit studies have been blind to the race and the sex of these subjects, and that these studies implicitly assume achieving organizational fit is the same for all groups of individuals. And they also mention briefly in the article how these fits are important, or the relationship between the fits and the organization's effectiveness in the long run. So what it talks about, like I said, it talks about the concept of fit. So one of the major concerns in both private and public sectors that I was mentioned is to increase the employees' productivity and promote their efficiency. So again, looking for the organization to have success. This study combines qualitative and quantitative approaches to assess fit, which again is looking at how individuals' values, beliefs, and personality and the values norms fits the culture of the organization that the individual is working for. For their research methodology, what they did is that they took 2 samples of managers And they were contacted and asked to complete a questionnaire examining issues of person-organization fit. The goal there was to develop a survey sample that had a sufficiently high representation of female and minority managers. From there, they were able to obtain 87 white male respondents, 157 white females, 44 African American males, 41 African American females, 22 Hispanic males, 12 Hispanic females, and 3 which were other. And then they developed a survey questionnaire to examine the person-organization fit and its consequences. The respondents were asked to describe particular cues, events, and experiences which helped them determine their organizational fit or non-fit. The perceived organizational fit was then assessed using 14 items, which included values, ethics, goals and objectives, skills, attributes, interaction with coworkers, outside interest, work-family balance, etc. So for the results, I'm gonna first talk a little bit about what they thought or believed that they were going to find in the study, and then what they actually found. So pretty much kind of like the hypotheses that they had at first. So in the article, they mentioned how minorities in a predominantly white institution in the United States may simply feel that they don't fit in. And this is because compared to their white colleagues, they might have different outside interests, different definitions of what career success is, different politics or styles of dress, personality, less access to interaction networks, and less participation in extracurricular activities, or pretty much what makes an individual different, right? And then it was also mentioned how minorities usually have fewer same-race role models and mentors within their organization, and that same lack of role models that are of the same race is what has deprived minorities of critical information about what it takes to fit in the organization. And then so that's because of the differences in cultural life and organizational experiences. It was originally thought that minority managers would perceive that they fit less well within their organization than do other managers, as well as the possibility of women perceiving that they fit less well in a predominantly white male environment than do their male colleagues, because they have a different definitions again of what work-family balance is, different communication styles, or different definitions of what career success looks like. One of the things that they were able to confirm in their findings was that African American managers reported achieving less organization fit than other groups of managers, which could mean that there still needs to be more affirmative action efforts to help African Americans gain access to more managerial positions, as well as more extensive socialization experiences in educational programs. However, there are also more surprising findings, such as Hispanics reporting a level of fit on the quantitative measure comparable to white male managers. So pretty much kind of like no more or no less. They were kind of like in the middle, and their findings revealed that the color barrier in organizations may not be as strong for Hispanics compared to African Americans. And then they also found that white females did not experience a significantly lower level of fits compared to white males, and that was one of the things that was kind of unexpected but encouraging finding at the same time. But they did mention that there has been research on cognitive processes underlying bias and prejudice, which suggests that race may be more salient factor than has been a more salient factor for classifying minority managers as members of an outgroup than is sex. plus white female managers in the study did produce a number of critical incidents, meaning that some must still cope with sexist work environments. So pretty much they didn't find that women experienced lower level, but they did find that there's still some sexism occurring in organizations. Researchers also mentioned that organization fit was positively associated with job satisfaction and negatively associated with perceived stress and intentions to leave. So pretty much what I was mentioning at the beginning of the presentation, the relationship between the person organizational fits and the organization's success in the long run. In general, what was most surprising about the results was that status as a minority, either African American or Hispanic, or as a white female, accounted for little variance in organizational fit, which again they thought they were gonna find that it was gonna be the opposite. And that's pretty much what concludes the highlights of my article that I chose. I'm going to be posting some questions for discussion, and I'm just going to mention them here. And then I'm going to post them so people can begin entering their answers. So the first question that I have is, how do you think understanding individual differences might influence your effectiveness as a manager? And then number 2, explain why or why not understanding these differences might be important within the organization you work for. And then number 3, in the article that I presented, they studied the comparison between the perceptions about personal organizational fit within diverse groups of managers, and if the same study was made here in the border between El Paso and Juarez, do you think we would see different results? Why or why not? Overall, I thought that this article was very interesting. I had the same hypothesis as the researchers that did them, but I was surprised at the end with the results. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you all for watching.